Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow, how can I say that on a Tuesday? What is it, 9:05, 9:10? You know, every time I have an opportunity to speak to people, I always ask, is it going to be morning or is it going to be afternoon? And personally, I like morning. I'm a morning person. How many of you here are not morning people? Raise your hand. Okay, I'm glad that most of the morning people are back here. I knew immediately they were going to be back here, so I'm going to be walking around over here so I won't put you to sleep. I promise you that I will do my very, very, very best not to put you to sleep, okay? Because the last thing that I want is for you to hear another older guy, an old man talk forever and never get to the point. I'm going to get to the point right away here. And I'm going to be real quick about it. I'm going to ask you to think about a question that I always ask myself every morning. Why am I here? I ask myself that question. When I wake up in the morning, I ask the good Lord, why did you give me another day? Why do you want me here? And then I go into a second question. What do you want me to do today? Does He talk to me? In different ways. Ask yourself that question. Why are you here? And that question is going to help you understand your self-esteem, your self-concept. I don't know about you. I have not always liked myself. I don't know how many of you are sitting here and saying, I really don't like myself. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the fact that I'm too short. I don't like the fact that I'm too fat. I don't like the fact that I'm too dark. I don't like the fact that I'm too light. I don't like the fact that I'm skinny. I don't like the fact that I'm a little bit overweight. This morning I was driving into your school and I saw some guys running. And at the very end, I saw myself running there. I saw myself running as that guy at the very end because that's exactly how I felt when I was in high school. No offense to you, Coach, but I've always had this thing with people that are in sports. How many of you here are in some kind of sport? What kind of sport are you in, sir?
Football.
Oh my, I hate those guys. Only kidding. I envy you. How many of you here in basketball? Any basketball players? Are you a starter or are you bench? God, I hate him even more. You know what happens in middle school when you try out for basketball? Help me out, Coach, on this one. I hope it's still the practice. If you're in the 7th grade and you try out for basketball, do you make the team?
Normally.
I like what he said, normally. Okay? Here I am, sir, trying out for the basketball team at Lamar Middle School, back then junior high. I'm 4'9", size 10.5 shoe, the same size of ears. They were big from the very beginning. I used to think I was fantastic at playing basketball. I used to play basketball with my baby brothers. Exactly. I didn't know they were so baby until I got on the court. I get the basketball. Everybody's trying out for the team, and I have to do a layup. And before I even run up to do the layup, you know what the coach did? Sir? It's not your sport. It's not your sport. I can still see his face and I can still hear the words. It's not your sport. Do you know what that felt like? How many of you know what that feels like when you're trying to do something and somebody says, there's not a chance in the world that you're going to do that? Not one chance. So you know what I did? I got off the floor. I went to my dressing room. And I said, I'm going to get out of Dodge. I'm going to go straight home. I'm not going to ever tell anybody this. But I have a problem now. What happens when you're the smallest, or you're the weirdest, or people want to pick fun of you? When you get bullied, right? Well, somebody stole my underwear. That's not cool when you're wearing a brand new pair of blue jeans, right? That's dangerous to walk around in a brand new pair of blue jeans without any underwear. Guys, you understand what I'm talking about here, right? You empathize with my situation. We have a problem, Houston. We have a serious problem here. Well, guess what I did? I broke the law. You know how I broke the law? What would you do? A, walk home without any underwear. B, steal somebody's underwear. Or C, go to the coach and say, Coach, somebody stole my underwear. What do? What does a middle school kid do? Huh? Excuse me, sir, could you repeat that again? Oh yeah, steal somebody's underwear. Exactly, that's exactly what I did. I stole somebody else's underwear, okay? And I want to take these guys off quick. God knows where they've been. God knows when it was last that they were washed. So I get home. I'm the oldest of 5 boys. I take them off immediately and I dump them into the hamper. The following day, it's 6:30 in the morning, and I feel this breathing down my neck. It's my mother. ¿De dónde salieron estos? And I'm going, what? What? Those? Wow, that's not even the family brand. I buy my stuff at JCPenney's. This is Fruit of the Loom. There's just no way. It must have been Ricky, or it must have been Renee, or I couldn't blame it on Ralph, because Ralph wore Pampers, so I couldn't blame it on my younger brother. My mother says, I'm going to find out. And you know what? I never told her the truth until I turned 50 years old. And they're all at the house, we're barbecuing, and I said, Mamá, ¿se acuerda cuando se encontró unos shorts que no sabía de quién eran? Bueno, the truth is, I stole them. Ya ni me acuerdo, ¿para qué estás hablando de esas cosas? You know, because my wife was going, what are you talking about? You actually stole somebody's underwear? What kind of a criminal are you? Who did I marry here, you know? Who are you? I don't know you anymore, okay? So it was very, very hard. The next thing was I had to come straight. I had to come out and talk about the fact that I didn't make the team. And that was harder. My father was there, and I stood up and I said, you know what? When I was in the 7th grade, I tried out for the basketball team. And I didn't make it. And that's what happened in 1968. I put my lifeline up so you can take a look at that. Look at the highs and lows. In 1960, I'm in kindergarten, and I'm very shy. I don't know how to tell the teacher that I need to go to the restroom. I always have these problems with underwear in restrooms. I don't know why. Nobody likes to talk about them, but that's the core of where our self-esteem comes from, right? I'm not trying to be Freudian here or anything, but think about it. You know? So I feel something running down my leg. I look down, and there's a mirror on the floor. It's a puddle. And I can see my face there. I can actually see my face on this puddle. I had an accident. I remember my mother coming for me. This is my first day of school. And my mother comes to me, and, you know, she kind of gets after me, but she kind of understands it was an accident. In 1974, I graduate from high school, and you know what? Guess what's happened to me in my life? You know what I did in high school? Do you think I played sports? No. I wimped out. I never tried sports again. Never once tried sports again. And that's nobody's fault but mine, because my self-esteem was so bad. It was so bad, I didn't have the courage to try out for cross country. That's why I saw myself running today. with the guys that were out there. I don't know, Coach, is that cross country or is that just a PE class running? ROTC likes to run in the morning. You know, I didn't even try out for ROTC. I was in 0 organizations when I graduated from high school. 0. You know what I did in high school? And you all are my heroes if you raise your hand here with the next question. How many of you here work at a restaurant? Stand up. Stand up proud. Where do you work? Whataburger. I was envious of all the guys that worked at Whataburger. I always wanted to work at Whataburger. You know where I worked? Dairy Queen. I couldn't even make it to Burger King. And do you know what the standard uniform at Dairy Queen was back then? It was white, like you were going to make the first communion, a red tie, and a big patch in the back, like if that was adding insult to injury, and it said Dairy Queen. And you know, at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're finished closing up and you're driving your motorcycle, I had a moped. The borrachos used to make fun of me. They used to make all kinds of fun of me because I was driving through the access by Interstate 35, and I've got this big old patch in back that says Dairy Queen, my God. And not only that, I was the cook. So nobody even knew I was around. Because what happens to the cooks when you work at a fast food? Do people see the cooks? No, not really. You're behind. Where do you work? Wendy's, my God, another all-star here. Give those people a round of applause. Give them a round of applause. Yeah. How many times have you been recognized in school? What is your name? Jose Luis what? Martinez. And your name? Sila Vasquez. Do you know how hard it is to work and go to school? I'll repeat the question. Is there anyone here that knows what it's like to work and go to school? Anybody here? Why do you work and go to school? That's it? For what? For yourself? Thank you. And you, ma'am? To help your parents. My father was unemployed a lot of times. I was fortunate that I had a father and mother. My father would lose his job. And I would see my mother crying at night, trying to say, where are we going to pay the bills from? Where are we going to buy the groceries? And that was very painful to me. The first time I got paid, I remember giving the money to my mom. It was around Christmas time. And the very first thing she did was she bought all my brother's tennis shoes. Do you know how my self-esteem was there? It went from being at the very bottom, being teased, not having made the team, having an accident in kinder, and actually now helping my family out because I was helping pay the bills. Do you know what it feels like when you see your little brother or brothers smile and jump for joy when they're wearing a brand new pair of shoes? Do you understand what happened there? I understood very quickly that all my life, up until then, was about me. And I'm going to tell you a little secret this morning. If your life today is about you, you are going to be a very, 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 very unhappy person. Because you are never going to be happy if the reason you are here is you. Guess what? Wrong formula. Wrong answer. Why are you here? Why did you get up this morning and come to school? Why do you worry about making good grades? Why do you not come to school? Why do you just think about yourself and not other people? you have to be able to find your focus. Your focus has to be about something else. If your focus is about you, you're in trouble. If you do not like yourself, you're in trouble. I met my wife when she was 15. You know what I was doing when I met her? I was at a dance, and I'm so sorry to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we can't hold dances in schools anymore. The first time I ever went to a young lady to ask her, do you want to dance with me, was in high school. Unless you go to a quince, or you go to a wedding, or you go to the dance somewhere, you're not going to know what it's like to go up to somebody and ask them to dance with you. Well, guess what? I would go up to the young girls and I would go, do you want to dance? And never make eye contact. Now, what are you going to do to a young man that comes up to you and says, you don't want to dance, right? Are you going to want to dance with that guy? He may not even know how to dance, right? And you're going to be dancing in front of everybody, and some idiot out there is not going to know how to dance. And you're going to go, no, thank you. What does it feel like, guys, when you go up to a girl? How many of you have been turned down when you go up to a girl and ask her to dance with you? Raise your hand. Come on. Nobody's going to say anything. See, I knew there would be one guy over here in the back that would be. How did you feel?
Bad.
You wanted to disappear, right? You wanted to become the invisible man. Right? I wanted to become the invisible man. But here I am. I'm at Nixon High School, the school that I want to go to. I'm going to Martin High School, the school I have to go to. And I go up and I see this beautiful girl. Big brown eyes, just huge, beautiful eyes. And I was like, wow. She is beautiful. She's got long brown, I get all excited. Even today, she's got long brown straight hair, beautiful hair. I'm just like mesmerized. But you know what I'm doing? I'm looking for my first girlfriend. And my first girlfriend had been a drug addict. I wanted to help her. I wanted her to get out of the drugs. Well, guess what? One day I say, and we're both working at Dairy Queen, I'm going to go pick you up. So I go pick her up, and guess what? She already had a ride, and then some. She was with a manager. And the manager didn't drive a car. He drove a van. And a lot of things can happen inside a van. And I'll stop right there. See, so here I am, traumatized by all these experiences that are going on in my life, and I'm going, why am I here? Why am I here? And it wasn't until 1977 that I discovered why I was here. I was at Southwest Texas State University now. And I wanted to be somebody. I felt that if I went to college and I put doctor in front of my name, I was going to be somebody. I wanted to be Dr. Romeo Rodriguez. Now, just think about that. Do we have pencils? Can we pass them around? Just think about that. Let me write my name so you understand what my problem is. Can I borrow a pencil? This is my name. And those of you that have gone through English literature would understand. See? Where am I? Who am I? I'm Romeo! It's funny, right? I know. Romeo, Romeo, where art thou? Where's Juliet? Some guys even called me Juliet. Now, it doesn't bother me anymore because I'm okay with it. And I'm even more proud of it now than I was then because I'm junior. My father has the same name, and I'm very, very proud of my dad. 4'9", not in sports, not in any organization, working at Dairy Queen, has a girlfriend that's a drug addict, and peed on his pants when he was 4. Not a very good profile, is it? So what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Well, like I'm telling you, in 1977, I discovered something. I walked into my apartment. I wanted to get rid of this dark cloud, but there's this cloud just follows me everywhere. I walk into my apartment. The door's open. I don't even need a key to get into the apartment. Okay? Guess what? My TV's gone. Walk into the bedroom. Guess what? My clothes is gone. And guess what? I guess it was the same guy that I stole the underwear from in middle school. My underwear's gone too. Again, problems with my underwear. I'll go to the restroom. I've got this shampoo. Have you noticed that I don't have any hair in the back? No. You're kidding me. Can you tell? Gosh. I had this shampoo I was using that was supposed to prevent baldness, and it was stolen. I go to the kitchen, all the meat's gone. We were going to have a little barbecue that weekend. All the meat's gone from the freezer. So what do you do when you walk into your house and you've been ransacked? Who do you call? Police? Yes? Okay, what do you need to call the police? I don't have a phone. They stole the phone too. Okay? So, that happens. The only thing I have to my name is what I have in a bag. Okay? That's all I got to my name. And then to add insult to injury, I break up with my girlfriend. The girl I met at Nixon, I broke up with her. And then I'm taking organic chemistry. How many of you love science here? Please raise your hand. Thank you. Organic chemistry, anatomy and physiology, genetics, and botany. Now, I'm taking all this at once. You know why? Because when I took organic chemistry at Laredo Community College, I had a B and a C, and I wanted to have a B and an A. So I'm taking the course again. But I can't handle it because it's too much at once. So I drop organic chemistry because I already took the class. But then I get my grades at midterm. Do you know what my grade was in organic chemistry? F. I didn't pay the $2 drop fee. So if you end up dropping a course in college, make sure you always find out what it is you need to pay. Because if you don't, you're going to get an F. Now, what happens when you get an F in high school? What happens to your grade point average? Dramatically, right? Those of you that are seniors, is grade point average important? It is, because if you want to be able to get a scholarship, class ranking is important. Well, here I am. Almost nothing to my name. I just broke up with my girlfriend. And I have an F in organic chemistry. And I'm not going to get into dental school. Remember I told you that I wanted something in front of Romeo? I wanted to be a dentist. Do you know why I wanted to be a dentist? Because I love teeth? Because I have problems with my self-esteem. That's why I wanted to be a dentist. I wanted to have doctor in front of my name. So where do you go to solve your problems? To a priest, if you have some kind of faith. You call your mom, "Oh mom, I have this problem," when you're in college? Not likely. Do you call a friend? If one happens to be around. I did the next best thing. You know what I did? I went to the library. Wonderful, right? The problem is that the library had 14 floors. And you know where I went? 14 floors. Exactly. And I stood on the edge of the 14th floor. I don't know how many of you here have ever been there. But when you're there, it's another world. My knees were shaking. I broke into a sweat. I'm standing on the edge. And all I have to do is just do this. Forward. That's all I have to do. And it's over. Or is it? And then I start to think a little bit. My knees are shaking. I want out. I don't want to be alive anymore. I don't care about anything anymore. I don't even care about myself. And then you know what? I asked the question, why am I here? Why am I here? And I said to myself, if I throw myself over, it's going to end in a few seconds. I don't know how long it's going to take me to go from 14th floor to floor number 1. And then I started thinking, what will happen if I don't die? What if I survive and I'll be paralyzed? And somebody's going to have to take care of me to go to the restroom or whatever. And then I started thinking, how are my parents going to feel? And then I started thinking, how is my girlfriend going to feel after I just broke up with her? And then I started thinking, I have 4 brothers. So what are they going to do whenever they get into a bind? Are they going to say, I want to be like my older brother because he ended his life and he had the courage to end it? I have a lot of respect. Do you know that every year there are numerous, in the past 4 years, 81 people have committed suicide in Laredo. Young people. As young as 10. Are you crazy if you think about killing yourself? No. It gets crazy when you start planning it and you get close to doing it. I was not all there. And there can be a lot of things that trigger. A lot of things can trigger you wanting to do that. Number one reason is self-esteem. Do you know, who was I thinking about when I wanted to kill myself? Was I thinking about everybody else when I got up on the edge? Or was I thinking about me? I was just thinking about me. And when you just, and I'm going to repeat this over and over and over this morning, when you just think about you, everything starts to fall apart. Because the world is not going to revolve around you. The world will not revolve around me. There are more important things in the world. I'm not the center of the earth. I'm not the center of the universe. I'm just one tiny speck. And then the question that you have to ask yourself, what do I want to leave behind? What do I want to be remembered? Is it a piece of art that you drew? Is it something you said? Is it the fact that you went up to your father, who you hadn't seen for 7 or 8 years, and you actually hugged the man and said, I love you even though you haven't been here for me? You left us, you abandoned us. I forgive you. Is it going up to your mother and saying, it's okay that you slept with other guys? You're still my mother? I had a horrible experience as a teacher. You know, I learned something in '77. I learned that if the world was going to be about me, I was going to be very, 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 very unhappy. In 1978, I became a teacher. And you know what we used to do back in '78? If you misbehaved, if you looked the wrong way, if we didn't like the way your hair was combed, we'd suspend you. I had a class of 40 kids. I was teaching life science, and half of the kids were suspended or expelled. And they would come by the room and they wave this little paper. I know, Chamo, sir, I got suspended. And they were happy. They were jumping for joy because they didn't have to come to school. And the teachers were happy. Everybody was happy. But that bothered me, because here I was supposed to have 40 kids, and I only had 26, 27 at best. Where were the other kids? They were suspended or expelled. And one day, I decided to do something very bold. I started an in-school suspension program. I told somebody, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to even get paid anymore because I'm not being a good teacher. I cannot teach my students if they're not in class. And the very first thing that a person is going to do that's going to get himself or herself in trouble is not coming to school. You call anybody in prison, or you go visit anybody in prison, and you ask, what's the first thing you ever did that was wrong? And they'll tell you the same thing over and over again. I stopped going to school. I didn't like school. That's where it starts. So in my heart, I knew that we had to find a way to work with people that were having a problem identifying with school. Those of you that raised your hand, raise your hand again if you have a job. 2 people. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up if you're in sports. Stand up if you are in ROTC. Stand up if you're in band. Stand up if you're in basketball, cross country, baseball. Stand up if you're in soccer. Don't stand up if you're not in anything. Look at that, folks. Those of you that are standing right now have a reason to get up in the morning. Those of us that are sitting are trying to figure out the question, why am I here? Why am I here? And that's horrible when you don't know why you're here. That bothers me when I come to speak to a group and very few people are involved in something. Please, thank you so much. Sit down. Thank you. Thank you very much. Those of you that did not stand up, I was you. I was invisible. I will never be a Tiger legend. I went to school at Martin High School. You know what my biggest dream when I was in Martin High School? Was to wear a Letterman jacket. They don't mean that much anymore, I guess. Do they, Coach? Depends who wears it, right? But when we were in school, Coach, and maybe when you were in school, if you walked around wearing a Letterman jacket, you walked like this. And when I was walking down the hall and I saw somebody like wearing a Letterman jacket, I'll go. I wanted to wear a Letterman jacket. And I'm sorry I didn't bring one. You know when I got a Letterman jacket? When I became principal of Nixon High School. One of the teachers found out that I always wanted a Letterman jacket, and I got a Letterman jacket that said, Romeo Rodriguez, principal. Órale. That's pretty cool. And you know where I have that Letterman jacket? I didn't bring it because I don't want anything to happen to it. I don't want it to get dirty. I have it in a plastic with a zipper. And I told my wife, the day that I die, I want you to put the Letterman jacket and set me on fire. I want to go green, okay? I want to go green. Some people, maybe not. Maybe I'll change my mind when I die. Be too late, right? So here I am, I see these people, and I don't want to be in high school anymore. I hate high school. I hate high school. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand and tell me I hate high school. That's not what this talks about. But if I had not been working at Dairy Queen, I had nothing. That was all I had. Had I not worked at Dairy Queen, had I not been giving my family a check, I would have had nothing. When I go to the reunions, you know, we're going to celebrate, if you can believe this, and I know you can, like the same way you're being honest with me. You know I don't have much hair back there, right? Can you actually believe I'm going to celebrate my 40th anniversary since I graduated? You're supposed to say yes. Yeah. It's been 40 years since we graduated from high school. And I still go, and they go, I didn't know your wife graduated from Martin. No, I did, idiot. I was in your class. I was hee-haw. Why do they call me hee-haw? Because that's the way I snored. Because I was tired of working at night, and I'd fall asleep in class. Does that happen, Mr. Martinez? Sometimes it happened to me. I didn't want it to happen, but I was so tired. You know, we went to school from 7:30 to 12:30. There wasn't enough room, and they had another group of people come from 1 to 6. We have a double shift in our high school because there wasn't enough high schools then. There was really only 3 high schools: United, Nixon, and Martin. That was it. But it was sad, you know, because, you know, what are you going to remember your high school by? What is the highlight of your high school years? Those of you that didn't stand up, are you invisible? There's another way you can become visible. You know how you can become very visible? If you're a frequent flyer. You know what a frequent flyer is? You get stoned every day. Eh? Why do we do that? So we can feel good. If you're a frequent flyer, you get stoned every day, you're going to feel great. What happens when you're a frequent flyer? You may end up where? In the office. And isn't it cool the principal already knows us by name? Or the assistant principal already knows us by our name? I learned something else later on. I had a kid. True story. Doing a lesson. These are the phases of mitosis, ladies and gentlemen. ¿Qué dice el vato? And this is very important. We need to learn this as we evolve and go into our higher sciences. Excuse the French. I better cover the mic. The guy goes, who said that? And the guy stands up. I did, so what? And I told the lady that was helping me, because I'm doing this in-school suspension, and we have windows, and people jump out of windows in this school. We have no air conditioning, okay? I told the lady, open the window, it's cold. And I told him, look, if you say that again, I'm going to throw you out the window. You know what he did? Said it again. And then he goes, que si haga no, ¿me vas a aventar o no? And you know what I did? I grabbed him from the collar, and just because you know where my bald side is, no, I grabbed him from the collar, and I threw him out the window. He lands on his face. And you know what he says? What do people usually say about your mother? Don't repeat it. Don't say it right now. He said something about my mother I didn't appreciate. And I'm from El Barrio. Nobody says anything about my mom, man. Even though she doesn't know that I stole some underwear yet. So guess what? You said something about my mom. Órale, man, te va a costar. So I jump over the window. And I was cool then. And I was wearing some tight pants, corduroys. And guess what happens? Again, an underwear problem. A complete tear from here to here. And one of the guys says, Guáchate, los trae bien maniados. Who said that? Do you want to go out the window? And I'm going, no, don't say that again. You might have to throw somebody else out the window now. There might be another guy that wants to leave the class. So, I jump out the window. I take my coat off. Because it's not cool and it's cold. Okay, so what's a good thing to do to cover up when you tear your pants? What would you do? Exactly, that's exactly what I did. So I did this, but the problem is that it wouldn't cover all the way around. But I did this, and you know, so now I'm running after this kid. You know? Doesn't look good, does it? I catch up to him, and I grab him, and I take him to the office. Okay? He starts to cry. The punk starts to cry. Es un lloretas. And guess what? I'm a lloretas too, because I start to cry too. But you know why I'm crying? Because I want to hit him. And if I hit him, guess what's going to happen? No more job. Bars. Jail. New uniform. It might be white. Or it might be pink. It depends if it's a federal or state problem. How much more time do I have? 2 more minutes? Well, guess what? Guess what? I said, I don't know you. And he goes, es que usted no sabe, sir. Mi jefita es una mentirosa. ¿Por qué? Porque mi vecina me acaba de decir que el vato que está con ella no es mi jefe. El vato que está con ella no es mi jefe. And I'm going like, my God. And I'm the one that's supposed to know better? You know what I did to that kid? I apologized to him. I said, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. And you know what happened to that kid? 2 months later, they killed a policeman, and he ended up the rest of his life in prison. I'm going to ask that as you walk out, I'm going to ask you to plot your lifeline. I want you to write the highs and lows. Now, the last thing I want to say, if I would have killed myself back in '77, I would have never become a teacher. I would have never become a husband. I would have never become a father. I would never become a principal. I would have never become a superintendent. But I wouldn't have become the person that I am today. Because even today that I'm retired, I have problems with my self-esteem. You've got to constantly work at it. You need to ask yourself, I'm very glad to be here with you because it gives me a reason to get up in the morning. I ask God, what is it that you want me to do? I got a call to come over and talk to you and share some of these experiences. They're not anything special. I'm not anyone special. I'm just like you. I'm just trying to figure it out. Thank you so much. As you walk out, I'm going to ask you to take your lifeline. God bless. Thank you, Pastor.